Welcome back, Joe.
Feels good to be back.
It does feel good to be back. I'm glad you're back, Joe. You got the nice shoes. Nice new shoes.
It's not new.
Looking good. Very clean.
Yeah, some white shoes. White. It's some white shoes.
White, unlike the massive protests which are currently happening of Mexicans holding Mexican flags, burning down cities, throwing bricks at cops, destroying cop cars, burning down stores, looting, rioting, and calling for California to be a basically Marxist state run by the communist liberals where we're not allowed to do deportations. And they're basically just an arm of Mexico. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, we got a lot to go over. And we're going to talk about President Trump having a military parade in D.C. and the fact that left is losing their mind.
7,000 troops.
7,000 troops. They're going to show off with all sorts of different airplanes. And it's going to be, it coincides with the 250th anniversary of our military, but it also coincides with some pretty there's a lot going on. 78,000 unsealed indictments that are now unsealed. Federal indictments. More to come. There's this thing, this anticipation. And then, of course, I want to give an update on the lawsuit for Mike Lindell, of which I testified for 2.5 days in that trial, and what the outcome of that was. And I'm going to give you a cursory view of what happened, but I'm not going to, Matt, I can't really tell you everything that I think right now.
Yeah, you're sealed. Your lips cannot be talking about that, or else you'll have legal consequences.
It's not that I can't talk about it. It's that I don't think that it would be in the best interest of Mike Lindell, because I've been doing is recording what I think is going to happen during the course of the trial, and what the judge was doing, what the prosecution, what the prosecutor, not prosecutor, what's it, the Coomer's lawyer. There's no DA. Coomer's lawyer was stating in the trial, and every time they got caught lying, they would just move the goalpost, and they got allowed to move the goalpost every single time. And so it's going to be interesting to talk about that and so much more today on Untamed.
Take two. Cut.
Take two.
I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
All right, follow me with this.
But they've been using their power to obstruct and stop justice from taking place.
You want to pray us out?
I do.
We'll pray for Tina. And let's have conversations about what truth is.
I believe there's a high probability that the 7,000 troops, the 40 helicopters, the 28 tanks, the missile launchers, that they're going to use that not for a parade. Maybe the parade is what they publicly say, but there could be martial law that is coming. Some people believe, and there's credibility to this, that Trump could be about to declare martial law, arrest the politicians who have been committing treason, deport the illegals, and take our country back. If he does that, there will be almost no ability for them to win elections by rigging it again. But that's a huge thing to do. That's not just something you decide overnight. That is a big deal. It could lead to a civil war. It could lead to people dying.
I think we're already in a civil war.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse, by the way. If we don't do anything, what's going to happen? They're just going to take over our country. They already are. And it's going to be impossible to ever have a chance to save ourselves again. So this is a very realistic possibility that Trump could decide to do this. I mean, look at the video. Let's go ahead and put up the video of the tanks coming in. This is kind of insane to watch, because you can see in the background there is the Washington Monument, which, if you've ever been to DC before, the way it works is there's the Washington Monument that's kind of in the middle, and then there's the White House. And then there's both houses. So there's the Senate, Congress building, and you can kind of see the landscape from the perspective of the Washington Monument. And all of the tanks are coming in on the train. right next to the Washington Monument. It's a little bit scary. But I think, do you think it's time? Do you think Trump should do that?
You know, we're going to have to rip the Band-Aid off. And if we rip the Band-Aid off, then we have to start asking ourselves the question, what comes next? And everyone goes, well, they're going to have these mass protests everywhere, which I want to, here you go. Here's a picture of it. I see that you have them like burning on fire.
I did that
that's a pretty good, ad there.
Pretty cool.
But typically you move things across the country like this. It's great to have it as it's great to have it as a show of force and to say, hey, let's celebrate the military. But there are some deep-seated concerns over what's happening in Los Angeles and other parts of the country. And I know that we're gonna run through all of those things as well, but it all started in LA. And if you remember, in 2020, they used the same playbook. I always say they use the same playbook on the left and the right. And there is a concerted effort of people on our side that say that they're on our side. These are people that say that they're conservatives. They say that they stand up for values, but they're the ones that are standing in direct opposition to what President Trump's trying to get done in Congress. It has been the most anemic Congress that they've had. And the last time since he was last in office in 2017, again, a very anemic Congress, which should show you, and this is the problem that no one wants to look at holistically, it should show you that the left and the right are aligned in steering the direction of the country, steering it in a way. That's why you have people that are Republican senators and congressmen that are going to the World Economic Forum, that are students of the World Economic Forum, is because they've already decided on their side where it is we're going as a country and where the world is going. And I have a theory that you're going to think is absolutely nuts. I'm not going to tell you yet. But yeah, I believe, Matt, that we're in for a rude awakening very shortly. And I said a couple months ago it was coming, that we're going into a civil war. We're going to get to conflict. And I felt like they were ramping it up. But I want to dive right in, if we can, to what's happening in LA first, because I could derail it all day. I mean, I could sit here for 3 hours and tell you what the math looks like to me. Let's look at where the money's coming from.
Yep, this is a war, and it's and by the way, the WEF is just a front for the formerly Jewish Atheist Club. It's just a front for them. George Soros is part of it. He's one of the primary factors of it. His son Alex Soros is now taking over the reins and funding things like this. Look at how much money they're getting. Watch this closely. This is important to keep in mind in the backdrop of basically what we're seeing as a war happening right now in the streets of LA.
Come on. Yeah. Sorry, Apollo.
I'm going to do this and then I'm going to go make strawberry scones. But when we talked about how this thing that was going on in Los Angeles was paid agitators, this is what I meant. I remember back when the Black Lives Matter riots were happening as well, they had very similar Craigslist ads looking for the toughest badasses in the city of Los Angeles, seeking extremely tough, brave men for a new crew on building. Compensation is $6,500 to $125,000 per week. Get paid every week, no matter what. Physical
Not
strength
100. So
needed,
she got that wrong, by the way. It's
ready for confrontation when
$12,500 per week.
necessary. However, we train you if necessary.
But that's still crazy.
Strength, team
that's 40. You're
discipline.
getting 40,000 a month.
Experience, but if you're a Marine, then they do not want you in their group because it's apparently a long story. Job title is listed as operator, and there's no experience required, and it's contracted work. And they were looking in the greater Los Angeles area. Obviously, they're not going to tell you exactly what it's for. Wait for you to call and then explain it. This is what happened during the Black Lives Matter riots.
And we don't have to play this whole clip, but basically,
call, and then they would recruit all these people to.
She's going through in detail these Craigslist ads that they're putting up, saying they're going to pay people as much as over $44,000, $48,000.
Yeah, it's probably not a month or a week. It's probably a month. I can't imagine they pay them $6,500 a week.
I don't think so either. And it could also be people putting up fake Craigslist ads who are just agitators trying to get more people to come.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. We were able to prove beyond a reasonable, without any doubt, that they were doing this during the George Floyd deal, which is why I tell everyone, look, it's the same playbook. Look, these people only have one playbook. because they are dealing with some of the dumbest human beings known to man. They're not dealing with really smart guys, Matt. They're dealing with really stupid people who can be influenced at the drop of a hat.
The amount of funding coming in from these NGOs and these left-wing billionaires is crazy. And that's what has orchestrated all of this. There would be no protests. Another thing to keep in mind is that California, if we go back only 70 years, was a completely different place. It went from being, and this is a good way to measure it, 94% white to now 36% white. When it was 94%
It's
white.
not 36% white.
36% white.
No, it's still well over 50%.
It's 36%.
No way.
I'm telling you, it's 36%.
I'll take that bet.
I'll take that bet right now. It is 36%. I know that sounds crazy. It is 36% white right now. Look it up. I know you can't believe it, right? But it's real. That is a fact. It is currently 36% white if you include all of the illegals there. Which some of them don't include the
I don't
illegals.
think so.
It is.
Dude, no.
To Google it. Yeah, he's Googling it right now. Watch this. Joe's about to be shocked. Not the country, the California.
Oh, California.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't say the country.
I was like, bro, come on now. That's not even possible. I say, what is the white population
in California?
California.
36%. It was 94%.
How many people they have there?
About 45, 50 million.
34%. You were high.
34%. So it's lower.
What?
California went from 94% white to 34% white. When it was 94% white, there weren't riots, there wasn't looting, the tax system and structure worked well. They didn't have problems with extreme crime and
okay,
gang
so
violence.
let's talk about that for a minute. Because I don't actually care if it's 10% white. Right?
I do. I care.
Hold on a second. Let me give me my logic for you real quick. I actually don't care. I do care about the fact that we have people that don't belong here there that have skewed that number. I do care that people are here illegally and that they are taking what is not theirs off of that. Let's say it's 60%. You take the black population, the white population, and the Asian and Hispanic population have been here for generations, right? That probably represents let's say 50%, because a lot of people have moved out. So let's say 50% of the population. I made that up. 60% of the population is people that belong there. Say 40% don't.
I don't count anchor babies, by the way.
I didn't count anchor babies. I said generationally there.
Generationally there.
People that have been there generations, right? There's
which isn't a lot, because one generation ago it was 94%. Now it's 34%. So that's one generation. That's 70 years. That's crazy. That's crazy what's happened there. And you're right. I mean, it's possible to live in a place that's not demographically as important if everyone shares the same culture.
Same values.
And same values. But these people don't. They don't share the same values. They're on the top of the car with a Mexican flag saying, this is Mexico, this is our land, you get out. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting.
Well, President Trump has a little message for Gavin Newsom.
He does.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and play that.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent.
Grossly incompetent. He said, I would do it. Let's go ahead and arrest him. He is breaking the law.
He is.
And here's the thing that I'll equate California the same way I would equate it to Ukraine. The people in California are held hostage by policy, by an ideology that is meant to destroy everything that's good about the hardworking men and women of that state. Set race aside, set all that stuff aside, people that go to work every day, that do the work that they need to get done, that are the backbone behind the California economy specifically. Those are the people that get held hostage by someone like Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom had something to say. He did respond to President Trump.
He did.
Yeah. You gotta hear. You're not even gonna believe it. Did you hear what he said?
It's crazy. I did watch that clip. Gavin Newsom basically is like, come on, buddy. I'm ready. Come arrest me. Play the clip.
Has been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. I don't give a damn. but I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
The perception is there's a lot of
He would cry like a little fish.
He would.
He would cry. He would cry. There's no part of Gavin Newsom that could handle going into the pokey.
It's all posture. It's all fake. No one believes that guy is tough. Basically what he said is, I'm running for president in 2028. I'm really tough. I don't like Trump. I want all of the Mexicans here in my state to like me and vote for me because I'm against all of the people who want to deport the illegals. It's just, that's really what he's saying. And it's the most low IQ thing ever to be in a country like Mexico, which has one of the most corrupt and evil governments on earth, total drug state, and then leave Mexico because it's a total drug state and evil and go to California and then vote for the same policies and the same evil drug state that you just left. Only someone with an IQ that is very low would do that. And clearly a lot of people coming over are very, very, very stupid because they're voting for this. They voted for Gavin Newsom. They want him in office. They want him to lead basically this movement to take over the country and make it Mexico 2.0 rather than America. That's what they're trying to do. If they had their way, they would let 10 million more people come right now.
Right, so,
and they would legalize all of them.
So what if I told you that Governor Gavin Newsom of California, who, by the way, was not legally elected. He was not legally elected as the governor of California. They stole that election with mail-in ballots and machines. 100%. The elections in this country are 100% stolen at will. They decide who and where someone gets placed in a position of office. And what they use, the tools that they use, which should be illegal, is they used a weaponized media to badmouth, to slander, and to defame people with impunity. And on top of that, just to make sure they can push those out in order to put their fingers on the scales of someone getting elected. They're allowed to do and say whatever they want. But Gavin Newsom put up a letter that he sent to Pete Hegseth. And in this letter, he talks about, he said on June 7th, 2025, President Trump issued a memorandum to your office entitled Department of Defense Security for the Protection of Department of Homeland Security Functions. The memorandum purports to invoke 10 USC 12406 to call into federal service members and units of the National Guard to temporarily protect ICE and other United States government personnel who are performing federal functions, including the enforcement of federal law, and to protect federal property. The memorandum further directs actions as necessary for the Secretary of Defense to coordinate with the governors of the states and the National Guard Bureau to identify and ordering into federal service the appropriate members and units of the National Guard under this authority. So he goes through and says that the Adjunct General of California received a memorandum from your office, and he basically rejects it. He's like, say, I reject it. I reject it. There's no need for the National Guard to be deployed. Now we're gonna look at some videos, Matt, that's gonna change your mind. But before that, Apollo, can we look at what's called ratioing? You know what ratioing is, Matt?
I love ratioing.
Well, this clown, this guy, and look, well, it's not Republicans that are being held hostage by Gavin Newsom and the millions of illegals. It is people of California. And just so you know, you cannot elect a president in this country without consensus from Democrats, Republicans, and independents. That is what got President Trump. He was a super popular president, but that's what got him across the finish line. Starts out with Philip Anderson. Shout out to Phil. Wrong. We did not have a problem until the Democrat terrorists started assaulting police, looting, and setting stuff on fire. You blatant lies only throws more fuel on the fire. Oh, you got different ones. Okay. Do not give up. Do not give up fighting for what's right, Governor. The people are with you. That's Ron Smith. You got to know something about Ron Smith. Trump is violating the law here, but of course, that's normal for a 34-time felon. Okay. Now let's keep going for a minute. Here you go. Here's one from David Coyote. The group instigates. Oh, by the way, the reason why it's not showing all of it up is because they're going through under Gavin Newsom's account and they're hiding replies. They're hiding replies. Yeah, you can, but this is fine. But they're hiding replies and then they're blocking people on the deal. Or not blocking people, but muting people. So David says the group instigating many of the riots in Los Angeles is Churla, which got $34 million of your tax dollars last year from Governor Gavin Newsom and California Democrats. Defund the left. Keep going, though. You got more. Please have LAPD put out the fires. The image is already being used to propaganda have Trump seize power. Keep going. So you let 10 million illegals in 4 years. We're going to clean up your mess, then arrest you. Sorry, you don't get to choose who someone cleans up the mess you made. Just walk away, you incapable of governing and putting the citizens first. Immigration officers were attacked and detained by LA rioters long before National Guard troops were deployed. They can't stop it. How much money have you raised so far? He's fundraising off the LA riots. He's literally sending out fundraising emails. This is unconscionable. If you go through it, it's probably 80%. 80%. Do you know what's going on in your own state, dude? Pathetic. And it goes through what's happening.
Look at some of that footage, too.
Yeah, go down a little bit. Yeah, there you go, right there.
That's crazy.
They're literally holding the people of California hostage. Hostage. Hundreds of drivers are now trapped in the expressway with violent rioters. That's happening right now.
And if you try to go past them, they will destroy your car, potentially take you out of the car after breaking the window, and murder you viciously by beating you as a mob. That's happened before, and it's very, very, very much the threat that keeps those people in their cars. You think, oh, I'm going to be a big tough guy and drive through. Try to do that, then they'll charge you if you hit one of them, first of all. You're going to be the one going to prison. Second of all, that's if you're able to even make it past all of their bricks that they're going to be tossing at your windshield. You're going to have to pay for the damage on your car. Insurance won't even cover that. So basically, they do have the ability, because our government isn't stepping up and arresting them, to hold our cities, our country hostage. That's what they're doing. That is a war. They are declaring war right now.
Yeah, so here's the problem with everything that's happening right now in California. I'm going to tell you. Ready? It doesn't end well. No part of it's going to end without violence. Yesterday, someone was yanked out of a car. Another person was actually run over. A little kid was hit in the head with a rock. He was like a 14-year-old kid. He had a red hat on, and they thought he was MAGA that showed up. So they beat him. You don't get to hear those stories. You have people standing up there with Mexican flags. You have the Mexican president that's calling for escalation at the border. And most people, Matt, there's 39 million people in California. Most of those 39 million people, you know what they want? They want life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. They just want to literally go down the street and not get robbed. They want to, have the ability to have opportunity for their children. It doesn't matter what color they are, what religion they are, but the people that are running this, they're faithless hacks. These are people that have no faith. None. And that's the problem with all these organizations that are out there. Homan did respond to Trump. And I think what Trump said is, if I was Homan, I would arrest him, right?
Right.
But here's what Homan had to say, which kind of turns it around a little bit. Let's go ahead and play it. Cut 5.
So, Tom, you've been leading these operations. And so instead of criticizing the people that are attacking our agents, you got Gavin Newsom, who has called for you to arrest him, and you got Maxine Waters, who is going after the National Guard. Watch this.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. The hell is this guy? come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community, and I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me.
Scripted.
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid? He's afraid of getting run? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight. I don't know why you're in my city. You did, the governor was not contacted.
Tom, what's your response?
Well, first of all, it's just ridiculous. That reporter from SMBC, he's a joke. He's a dishonest reporter. What we discussed was, for those protesters that cross the line, I've said it many times, you can protest, you get your First Amendment rights. But when you cross that line, you put hands on an ICE officer, or you destroy property, or I say that you impede law enforcement, or you're knowingly harboring, concealing illegal alien, that's a crime. And the Trump administration is not going to tolerate it. You cross that line, we're going to seek prosecution in the Department of Justice. Then the reporter asked me, well, could Governor Newsom or Mayor Bass be arrested? I said, well, no one's above the law. If they cross the line and commit a crime, absolutely they can. So there was no discussion about arresting Newsom. And so, you know, what he's done, he's failed that state. He waited 2 days of that city burning and people getting hurt, officers being assaulted, before he made any declaration of an unlawful assembly. He's late to the game. President Trump isn't late to the game. Men and women of ICE are not late to the game. And let's make this clear. I keep hearing this term ICE raids, ICE raids. What happened with how this riot started is that ICE was serving a series of criminal warrants at a business being investigated for money laundering, customs fraud, and serious violations on sending money to criminal cartels that in Colombia and Mexico that fund cartel activities in the United States. It's a part of an overall conspiracy that ICE is investigating. So we're arresting bad people. We were enforcing laws and following up on a serious criminal investigation on cartel financing. So that's exactly what ICE did. And ICE took a lot of bad people off the street that day. We arrested a sexual predator, arrested gang members, arrested somebody that had an armed robbery conviction. So we made LA safer. The men and women at ICE, the men and women at the Border Patrol made LA safer that day. But you're not hearing any of this. All you hear is a rhetoric about ICE being racist, and ICE being Nazis and terrorists. And Governor Newsom feeds that. Just like Hakeem Jeffrey feeds it, that he's going to unmask ICE agents. And the members of Congress who keep feeding this rhetoric, they're the ones that are causing this riot, because they don't listen to the truth about what the men and women at ICE are doing. We're keeping our promise to American people to make these streets safe again. And that's exactly what.
Tom's one of the only people I love in the Trump administration. There's some good people. He's one of the only people I love. He's awesome.
Is this a like versus love deal?
Yeah.
All right. I think he's really good. I just think that, I don't want to talk about how I'm torn, because I think it'll cause a little bit more of consternation. We'll end up talking about it for an hour. But you don't just have people in our country who are in leadership that are basically, if you think about it, Maxine Waters and all of these people that
We're going to do, then we're not going to stop.
If you look at this, Matt, these people, they're above any consequences. No matter what happens, if society collapses, they get a bunker. I mean, these are old, should have hung up the towel a long time ago, supporting criminality because they're criminals. But this is a gladiatorial contest. They're just lining people up on both sides, letting them fight, let blood spill, people die, people lose their homes, degradation of society, because they're faithless hacks that feel like they're just going to turn into worm food anyway. They're the atheistic part of our society is the moral decay. They spend so much time trying to take from those that have, that nothing bothers them. Now you have the president of Mexico decided to talk about the protests in the U.S. as if she has a stake at the table, like she's a stakeholder.
Guess what club she is part of?
World Economic Forum.
Yep. Formerly Jewish Atheist Club, World Economic Forum. She's tied directly to Klaus Schwab. She's tied directly to George Soros. He was one of the people who funded her to get in office. He was one of the people who funded the 42 politicians who were murdered during the election campaign, where Claudia was able to walk in and she gets this green light from the cartels who are willing to kill all the other politicians.
Yeah.
Because she's in with them. She's in bed. She's letting them do their work while pretending to have some sort of unified front, and also doing their work as well and calling out the United States and trying to put pressure on us to not hold these illegals accountable. She's making money from the drug trade, a lot of it. Her country is bringing in a lot of dollars from that through the back end. And so they want it to continue. They want these protests. They want to be able to keep sending their criminals here. They want to be able to keep allowing their criminals who are here to make money, then send it back to the people there and run these large operations where the government's getting paid off on the back end in order to allow it to continue. That's what's happening. We're basically under siege by a foreign criminal cartel. That's what's happening, and people are against it somehow, and that they're the bad guys. And then there's people who are for it. There's people who are protesting and want this to happen. It's a joke. It's disgusting. I just want to send them all back. I don't care anymore. Send everyone back. Take our country. Start a new country. Whatever it has to be. Either that or we're done, and they're going to be in charge, and we're going to have to submit to that, or else we go to prison, or else we get killed. That will be our choice in 30 years. It's life or death. It's now or never.
Okay, so let's kind of break that down a little bit. But I want to play this first. I want the president of Mexico. I want you to, at some point, we got to start talking about atheists the way they are. They have no moral fiber.
None.
They have no conscience. They have no ability to delineate between right and wrong because they get to make up what right and wrong is. Because if you have no maker, if you have no higher power, if you have nothing that actually binds you to the spirit of goodness, then you're likely to be a really bad person. So we need to stop giving atheists a free pass. Because 99.99% of the atheists that are out there, these faithless people, they're psychopathic. They're sociopathic. They're terrible human beings. They're Satanists. They're demons. They're devils. Greatest lie the devil ever said was that he didn't exist. But he does. Let's go ahead and hear from the president of Mexico. This will be good to hear.
Claudia Sheinbaum.
Yeah.
Because if necessary, we will mobilize because we do not want taxes on remittances from our compatriots in the United States to Mexico.
That's pretty fun. I want to be that guy.
That sounds fun. You carry a big stick, hit a couple.
We will mobilize. So you have. So let me just give you when you're going to signal something and you have millions of people inside of another country, you signal them that way. And a vast majority of the people that are on the streets inside of Los Angeles, they're from another country. They're illegals. So you have illegals that are burning down your community and saying, this is our country, but the people don't support it. But Gavin Newsom and all the rest of them won't give a face to them. And they're walking around wearing masks. Just so you know, President Trump said it's now illegal to wear a mask at a protest. You cannot wear a mask at a protest. I want them to start arresting people on that pretense alone. And Maxine Waters called for citizens to stand up and resist. But notice she's sitting in a really nice car while she's doing it. Let's go ahead and play it. Number 7.
Came down here to the detention center to see if I can find out what is happening with David Huerta. He is one of our leaders in organized labor, head of a local SEIU union. I don't know why they picked him up. I don't know what they're going to do to him. I don't want them to deport him. I think that he is being targeted, but our city is being targeted because we're a sanctuary city. Trump hates us. He does not like this city. He's trying to intimidate, and he sent the guns in here on us. The governor didn't know anything about the National Guard coming here. He did it on his own. We can't be intimidated. We've got to get the people out. We've got to get the elected officials out. We've got to resist him. I'm going back out into the communities where ICE was last night to make sure people know that their elected officials are standing with them. Thank you.
What's your next step now?
I'm going out to Lenox and to Paramount, Watts, and South Central where they were last night to see if ICE is back out there.
How about a message for the community?
The community is don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. Do what we did in the civil rights movement. Protest peacefully. Get out. Make your voices heard. The more people we're able to engage, the more we can push back on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here's another one that decided to get up and talk about encouraging people to stand with illegals. Cut 9.
We are here to say free the immigrants that have been arrested. Free
the immigrants that have been arrested.
We are here to say end the ICE raids.
End the ICE raids.
All right, let me ask you a question. Do you think people elected these weirdos? I mean, do you think that there's enough people out there that elect weirdos like this? That like, oh yeah, I'm going to put a weirdo in there to represent me. That talk the way they do and act the way they do. You think?
It's obvious a lot of it's fake. A lot of the votes are coming in from illegals. There's definitely not enough American citizens to elect them. They're using the ballot harvesting of illegal immigrants who get the ID under the California law, combined with faking the voting machines, combined with basically screwing up the polls to make it look one way first. They're doing psychological tricks. They're changing the numbers on the back end. They're putting in ballots that aren't real. They're switching ballots. They're changing the ones and zeros. They're doing all of this stuff because that's the only way they can stay in power. And then they have to put up this front. Like they're the tough guys. They're the ones fighting us when we just want to have a peaceful, nice country that's not full of a bunch of people from Mexico who hate us. No, thank you, please. And yet they want that. They want that. They want it to be no longer America. They want it to be a country that can fully control. A communist dictatorship is essentially what they're trying to push forward. That they will achieve it too if we don't stop them right now.
Okay, so did people come out in support of Americans? Things were going really bad in 2020. Shut down the community. People were losing their businesses. Did anybody come out in like large numbers? Right? But you have illegals that are out on our streets that came out for illegals. And you have tens of millions of them in this country. So you have tens of millions of people that don't belong here, that are here illegally, that are standing up for themselves. And yeah, you probably have a couple thousand sympathists, right? But you've imported an army of people to create war with the American people. We get to be held hostage. Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter. We get to be held hostage by their behavior. And I don't have a problem with people that want an opportunity here. I think the system is fundamentally broken, Matt. The system is broken. The immigration system is broken. There should be a system that allows people to get into this country and it not take 10 years and have some janky ass lawyer who's just a crap bag take $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and then basically say, I can't do anything for you. There should be a system that's very streamlined, like it was back in the 1920s when you came through Ellis Island. There was certain ports that you came through. You came across the border in the 1920s and you weren't here and you were here illegally, man, they put a hurt locker on you. You were busting rocks. And it didn't matter what state you were in. People in America didn't, and it didn't matter if you were Hispanic, white, black, green, yellow. You were not having it. You're not coming in here. There was a bit of nationalism about protecting your community that people drove towards. And that was before the atheist, godless freaks that seemed to think that we elected them to office, which we didn't. They were selected, not elected. But now you have people coming out in droves and they're saying very simple things. And that is, we need to make sure that we defend the illegals. Here, this guy is president of the largest teachers union, called for protesters to defend the illegals. Go ahead and play it. 10.
We the people! We the people! We the people! Yes! All of us have that right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice!
No, it's happiness, not justice. And justice is justice.
What a low IQ movement. Just the stupidest people like Maxine Waters, whoever that lady was, Rashida Tlaib. These people are so dumb.
Yeah, that's smart.
And yet they're in these positions where people are listening to them. More dumb people listening to more dumb people being paid by evil people who aren't dumb. George Soros isn't dumb. He's very smart. Unfortunately, I wish he was dumb. He's not. But he installs all these dumb people who are willing to recite the lines. Gavin Newsom's line was recited. Maxine Waters stood next to her white driver. What a racist. How dare she not hire a black person through her DEI initiative? So, I mean, we're looking at all these dumb hypocrites. And here's some of the comments. So there's no patriotism anymore from Bye Bye YouTube. That's where the term
Bye Bye what?
Bye Bye YouTube is his name. That's where the term WOP came from. It means without papers. From Jeff, President of Mexico is telling people to protest too because of tariffs. Isn't that an act of war? I'm about ready to support scorched earth. Not gonna lie, says who is Chris. I mean, well, at some point, we have to start looking at serious options here of response. Scorched earth. We can't just let them take our country and say, okay, we're going to be cordial. Well, we don't want the consequences. When does it get to the point when we're ready? And it needs to take someone in a position of leadership like Trump. And maybe that's what he's doing right now with all the troops. Maybe he is preparing to really take this thing to the next level and arrest the treasonous. Maybe he will. And by the way, we're climbing in viewers quickly. If you're watching for the first time, we are live every single weekday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Come and join the show. We're building something incredible here. We have an incredible team back there who does the research, who does the clips. Apollo is also back there running the show and putting everything together, making sure it works well. Apollo, by the way, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think of these riots? We haven't heard from you yet, Apollo, today. What do you think of the riots? What do you think of everything going on? And what is the response that should be taken to this?
He wants to get on the streets.
You ready to get?
That kind of was my my foray into this entire mess. Was back during, the George Floyd stuff. But I mean, truthfully, I think it's pretty simple. You've got a lot of people who are pushing these narratives. These riots are clearly all paid for, like they have been for the last several years. And the danger here is that you have very dangerous people who are setting us up to then frame Donald Trump as a dictator, because they've been trying to do that through the courts and all kinds of things. So that's kind of my biggest concern right now. You see even Gavin Newsom like daring him to be arrested. Yeah, they probably want him to arrest Gavin Newsom because then they can run a narrative. I mean, that's the entire thing. Joe's right. We are at civil war. So they're just trying to find a good reason to justify escalating it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I don't. It just gets. I'm actually sad. Like I wake up every day sad. It's not just our country; it's the world. The world. We are sitting back and watching evil just consume our leadership. Feckless cowards and people that are driven to do the biddings of these really, really evil, godless, faithless people. And we're doing nothing about it. Like I don't want to live in a world like that.
Well, we can do stuff about it.
We
this show, just having this movement, this brotherhood between us, and I came up with a term, by the way, Angel Knights. And I think that's an important term because it shows what we represent. We are not only fighting, we are fighting with God, for God. We are fighting. We are not a peaceful group anymore. We are not a group that is just sitting back and peaceful using operatively. I mean, we're just not going to sit on our hands. That's what I mean by that. We're taking action now. We are ready to fight. We are ready to be Angel Knights. And I think it's such an important thing for everyone who is here right now to really, truly be part of it. If you've been clicking on the link that I post on X and watching the show, don't just do that. Make a Rumble account so you can click like on the video, so you can comment on the video. It won't let you do it from just the link. Come make an account and be part of the community. We need all of us as we're going to build a movement. We're going to build a movement across X, across other social media platforms, across Rumble, where all of us are going to be united together in calling this out. It is possible to do. We have seen groups that have formed together over certain names and ideologies, over certain people who are trying to take steps in the right direction, and they have caused real cultural change. We have seen a big difference already, and we need to continue with that. We need all of us, every single one of you watching right now, you need to join with us so we can help to influence enough people before it's too late to do the right thing. That's the only way, Joe. How else can we fix it?
Well, I used to say that there's 4 things you had to do. I still say. And it's all tied to like biblical stuff, right? You have to pray first. You pray so you never become the very thing that you're fighting against, because we are going to go to war. And nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, Joe Rogan's not going to talk about it. Tucker Carlson's not going to talk. None of these guys are going to talk about it. They're not going to talk about what's happening, but it's getting closer and closer to the front door of every American. That's what we're seeing right now. And it started in places like Portland and other places where basically it was unlivable. And you lived under this extreme pressure of these tyrants. But you pray first. And you stand up. You get on your feet. You stand up. Then you speak. You speak truth. You speak your mind. You tell the demons to get out. You tell the atheists to get out. You tell them we're finished. And then you act. And the act part is not, look, it's not for the faint of heart. Because I'm not going to turn my other cheek. There's no part of me that wants to go to war. I'm a peacemaker. But the reason people, in order to be a peacemaker, Matt, you got to be capable of great violence so that you can appreciate the fact that nobody else wants to go through that violence. You're willing to. I'm willing to. But you don't want to go through that. That's what it means to be a peacemaker, is to ultimately be able to put someone down because of the evil that they are. And look, I want people to come to Jesus in this life or the next. But what they're doing in our communities and then saying, oh, there's nothing to see here, is wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. It's fun. And when we get to the part about talking about what happened in the courtroom, man, it is everywhere. The evil is, you can taste it. You walk in the room, you can smell it. The evil, the rot, and just the institutional dishonesty that is represented.
Did you see, speaking of bad smell, did you see Greta Thunberg's ship?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
There's still a lot more to cover with this, and I really want to hear an update on the case, because Joe has been out of studio, obviously, for a little bit, having to deal with that super important stuff. It is absolutely lawfare. It is absolutely disgusting. I went off on Eric Coomer on one of the shows you were gone. I doubt you even saw it because you're way too busy right now to even watch the show.
Yeah, I didn't watch anything. I mean, it was 3 days of
hell.
The entire trial. Let's get through this and then we'll get into it, because I think we should. We had another leader, Rep. Chu, went on MSNBC to state the LAPD has everything under control and there's no need for the National Guard to be deployed. People are dying in the streets. But let's go ahead and play this.
You have outliers that throw things and cause
that looks
damage.
Like outliers.
And so, yes, the LAPD came in and they called it an unlawful assembly. I believe that the LAPD has this underhand, and they are very, very experienced in riot control. So this is something that they can handle. We do not have to have the National Guard here. We certainly do not have to have the Marines here. This is a manufactured crisis, and we do not need the Insurrection Act, and that is an understatement.
And again, there's a distinction, because in many cases where there's a natural disaster or there's civil unrest.
Barely even American. That woman, is she an American?
Yeah.
Is she even from here?
Yeah.
She's from here?
Yeah.
Is she doesn't care about our country, though, clearly. She doesn't care about our ideals. How is she American just because she was born here? She doesn't share our culture at all. It's not just because she's Asian. There can be Asians that love our culture, share our culture, want to be here, a part of it. She's not one of them. She is evil, and she is acting out of vengeance, not out of common sense.
Well, she's another one of the faithless, godless people. And if you don't have faith, you don't have God, you don't have much. An ABC News panelist said that the protesters are peaceful and that they're just standing around enjoying something. You got to hear this. Let's go and play it.
large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
So people like the smell of burning tires. I just found that out. That's new. It's new. And the mayor of Boston or of LA, and by the way, what's happening on the LA streets, it's predicted that there are up to 10 million people who are illegal in the state of California. 10 million.
Probably more.
Let's just say 10 million is a lot, though.
It is a lot. That's
Right?
that's almost
That's a fourth of the
fourth
population.
of the population right there.
Yeah. Let's hear what Karen Bass had to say. This reprehensible piece of trash. Mayor. Oh, terrible. Go play it.
This is intentional chaos. You know, I had talked to representatives of the Trump administration earlier on to tell them that the Los Angeles Police Department could control things that were happening here and that there was no need to federalize troops. And so to have this here is really just a provocation and something that was not needed in our city. We're still recovering after 5 months from the city's worst natural disaster in decades. And now to go through a trauma like this that is really traumatizing the whole city, because everybody knows somebody in a city where more than 50% are Latino. This just sows chaos that is not warranted nor needed in the city of Los Angeles at this point.
We have some breaking news, by the way, Joe. Trump just announced sending in 700 Marines to LA.
Good.
They're not gonna. They're screwed now. That's not ICE anymore. ICE is good. These are the Marines. Good luck taunting a Marine to their face. Good luck throwing a brick at a Marine. Good luck trying to take out a Marine's car or hit them with something. I hope you try. That's a Marine. Good luck. Good luck, guys. Good luck, protesters. They're screwed now. I mean, that's 700. I wish it was more. That's still a lot, though. I don't know how that's going to impact the situation, but clearly that is a major step up.
Yeah, it's they had 300 before, so you have 700 Marines that'll be pushed out there. So it'll be a battalion will be sent, but for now, the Insurrection Act is not expected to be invoked. Okay, so let me just tell you when it would be invoked. It'll be invoked when they launch it across the country, because we're going to share you that in a minute. But the sheriff of the LAPD is in the middle of this. The sheriff says that the department is overwhelmed and that things are not under control. Let's go ahead and hear from him.
We saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people. We've seen people with hammers, and you broadcasted, breaking the bollards behind the federal building and taking the rocks, if you will, or pieces of concrete, and throwing them at officers. We've had liquid of who knows what description thrown at officers. There's no limit to what they're doing to our officers. And again, as I mentioned in my statement, I can't thank our folks enough and our partner agency police officials for going out there and taking care of the community.
All right, let's just run through this. We even had a CNN panelist that said that things are out of control and that Trump has every right to deploy the National Guard. Let's go ahead and play it.
Brad, what are you thinking? Well, we got to this moment because California has a sanctuary policy. The state law forbids local law enforcement from cooperating with, or local government from cooperating with immigration enforcement. We have immigration laws that govern the entire land, and California is willfully ignoring them. California's left-wing politicians set this up. If California had long been cooperating and helping enforce immigration laws all along the way, this would not be.
It's not the whole state. You do know that some of this is jurisdictions. There are certain towns that do. Yeah, but there are certain but there are certain towns that absolutely have cooperated with federal authorities.
Shouldn't they all?
You know, this is part of the issue that is always interesting here is when Republicans want to talk about states' rights. It's about states' rights when it is something that they're interested in, and not when it is something that perhaps Democrats and their states are interested in. And so I think.
But we've all agreed on what immigration laws are.
Well,
it's not.
hold
There's
on.
not a state. There's not a state.
We're going to talk about this more in the hour. I want to bring in Steve.
They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the reality. We debate the ridiculous. I think I have a theory why. By the end of the show, I'm going to tell you what the theory is. I think you're going to agree with me. You're going to be like, Joey, you're out there, bro. I'm going to be like, I was talking about it years ago. That wait till you hear about this. You're going to love it. But here's some footage of. We don't even need to play all of it. But here's riders throwing rocks at police cruisers. Go ahead and play it.
Oh, who's this?
Here's them looting a Foot Locker.
You guys, they're looting. Can I get a new pair of shoes too?
All right, here's them looting a T-Mobile.
Yo, grab me a shirt. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Here's them lighting Waymos on fire. That looks like that'll buff out.
Those are supposedly Waymo.
Take it to your shop, Joe. You guys can get it done.
Very hot right here. Feel embers
Batteries.
burning down.
And here's a fire lit at the LAPD station.
People standing.
They actually lit fires all over the LAPD station. And here's law enforcement after being maced.
This is new video showing restaurant workers helping sheriff's deputies in Compton. You can see some of the deputies sitting in the booths as workers help to flush their eyes, likely after getting hit with tear gas. After a short break, the deputies put their gas masks back on and headed back out to help contain the protest.
Here's them leaving bricks behind so they can actually do damage and kill people. And here's insurrection versus a peaceful protest.
Which one's which? I can't tell.
Yeah. The damage done, we now know that there was over 100 federal CIs, federales, that were at the January 6th deal. None of those people were arrested. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're man, I feel like we're in a different world, Matt. We're just in a different world right now. We debate the ridiculous. In any other world, this riot stuff would have been shut down immediately. People were thrown in jail, sent them down the river. But the activism and the rotting of our government is extended all the way through the judges, lawyers. They literally were trained. We have trained communists in our country. This is no different than Nazi Germany in World War II. That's what these people are. They're the disgusting part of our society, the godless, faithless, really bad people. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back to kind of go through it. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Gabe! Dude, Gabe, something's in the dumpster.
Whoa, what is that for?
Something's in the dumpster, man.
Well, let's use the burner. We don't want to wake the neighbors. Freeze! Stop resisting!
Stop resisting! If you're looking for a less than lethal option for self-defense or keeping pests out of your dumpster, then check out Byrna at DCF Guns. Visit us at our 3 locations in Castle Rock or Colorado Springs, or visit us online at dcfguns.com.
Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter.
It was around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I received an email from PayPal. It showed in this email that there was a debit in my PayPal account that was going to be taken out. I don't remember following the link in the email even. I think I went straight to the PayPal account, and that pending debit was there. And it was for about $1,000, I believe, so it was a lot of money. So I called the phone number on that email. And it kind of, the way this guy was talking, I didn't even question what he was saying. And I've worked with computers for the past 40 years. And he just kept convincing me, and he was a legitimate person that was going to fix my computer, and I had faith in him that he was doing his job. I got in the car and I drove, and I was just thinking, this isn't right. I've given this guy enough money to buy like 2 computers. So I came home and I just thought about it some more, and I called my wife had come home. I was by myself. I had to fix the computer, fix my phone, change my bank accounts, change all of my passwords. I mean, I went through like 2 weeks of going through everything I owned, changing everything that I had because of this guy.
Okay, you wouldn't believe this. Who's funding it, Matt?
3 letters, starts with a C, ends with an A, has an I in the middle.
The CIA is funding all of it. And they're laundering the money through NGOs. And those NGOs have been able to recruit illegals to get out there and do work, because these are the same people that basically trafficked over 300,000 children that have disappeared into this country over the last 4 years. They have their own website up there that they should shut down immediately that says no king. But the problem is that when you have the government that's involved in this, and that they have destroyed the sovereignty of so many nations and taken down nations and destroyed every part of it, it's a business. There is a business in this country that their only job is to destroy. And so they have the site, and it's called No Kings. And hit the host if you would. If you go to the host one at the very top, it It says, in America, we don't put up with kings, would-be kings. No kings, a national day of action, mass mobilization in response to the increasing authoritarian excesses and corruption of the Trump administration. The Trump administration has not shown 1 ounce of corruption, by the way. Not one. Not one. I would say that they're stupid, dishonest. The FBI is completely dishonest. The flag doesn't belong to President Trump. It belongs to us. We're not watching history happen. We're making it. June 14th, we're showing up everywhere he isn't, to say no thrones, no crowns, no kings. These people, by the way, are demonic. So they want you to get basic information. So they have where you can actually host. You put in your city name, type of event, and the protest. And you can literally set up these different locations on the site.
What is the URL? It's a .com?
It's .org.
Oh, .org.
NoKings.org.
.org.
.org.
Of course it's a .org. Of course they're able to somehow get the domain name.
They have trainings. You have social. You have partners. They've created partners. There's a map on here. And if you look at the map, it shows you where they're going to have all these protests. Now, first of all, we already know 100%. There's the map. We already know that there are over 30 million illegals in this country, right?
More than that, I think.
The problem with a PSYOP is that you only need certain people to want to be in the cool kids club, the Kardashians club, to come along. You have really stupid people. There's a lot of people in this country that are really, really stupid. These are, by the way, the people that are sponsoring it. You have Bernie Sanders's Black Voters Matter, Climate Defenders, Color of Change. Some of the biggest racist organizations are funding this. ACLU. Yeah, this is really bad. These are all the people, organizations that are funneling money in order to create violence on the streets of America.
Is that on their website?
It is.
That's disgusting. So they're openly bragging about it. They're not even hiding it. You know, all of these are different names. They all come from the same funding, though.
Yes, they do.
And that's why we don't have this on the right. People wonder, why doesn't the right protest? Because no one's paying us to do it.
Well, once they got access to the black ops dollars in the government, and that's really where it comes from. Is, they talked about the fact they had this one place where they would just press the button and send money to different organizations. This is the same thing. This is what they do. I mean, I can keep going. There's many more. Look at all these different organizations. And they're all funded by the same thing. They're all government funded. They're all funded by just one group of people. You have one group that literally will fund all these different organizations. So it looks like it's not connected, but it is. And smart people know this. But we debate the ridiculous. I can keep going. It's still going to go. It's going to keep going. It's pretty crazy, huh?
It does not stop. Someone just sent this to us, by the way, while we were live. So they're currently orchestrating these. They're orchestrating more protests, more riots, and they want it to be nationwide. You saw the map just a second ago. What was that, 200 locations?
No, these are thousands. If you consolidate down that map, it literally covers the entire country.
And not even only major cities either. These are also some
small. But look in the middle where there are none. Up through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma. I tell you what, they'll break your face. You got a bunch of them in Colorado, Eastern Plains, not. South Dakota is like, yeah, you better stay. You better get on the border. South Dakota's surrounded, but you can't go into South Dakota. You go into South Dakota, they'll throw you out.
They'll throw corn at you until you leave.
Nevada, again, too. Look at this. Look at Nevada. Nevada barely has anything there, yet Nevada went to the Democrats. How'd that go happen? How'd that happen? How? And then you have the star states of where in Atlanta, in Houston. Wait, this has got to be Minneapolis. Oh, Chicago. Yeah. There's some big ones happening. This Colorado? Littleton? So they put these up there. Douglas County. Where's that Douglas County one? Castle Rock? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. People in Castle Rock will come out and beat their ass. I'm going to tell you right now, people do not play. Apollo, the people play there? Yeah, you come to Castle Rock. Go ahead and cause problems. There's an organization called Dads at Castle Rock. Democrats, Republicans, they don't care. They will literally come out there and they will whoop your ass. Literally. They don't care. Don't groom children. They all collectively get together. Democrats and Republicans, they don't put up with any of them. None of them. Okay. Let's get past this for a minute. This is an Axios, because you have to have then the media, the weaponized media, tell you what's going to happen on these counter protests on June 14th. Now, I want to point out that they're going to try and have counter protests in D.C. when they're having a military protest, right? So in D.C., they want to have a protest at the same time in the same area to shut down the military protest in Washington, D.C. Wait, how do you think that's going to happen? How do you think that's going to work out?
Not going to go so well.
Well, their website, because they have a handbook, it says specifically on some of their organizing literature not to put something in Washington, D.C., because they want to have it everywhere but where Trump is going to be to pull the attention. But really, I think they're just scared.
No, they literally, if you get out on it, they have it in D.C.
Oh, I know they do. But it's interesting because there are a lot in D.C., and I think they said on their literature, don't do it in D.C., just like they say, remain peaceful, our values are peaceful, for optics.
Yeah. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. But I'm going to tell you that King George County, they're literally everywhere. I think that they're going to try and do a bunch of bad stuff all over the country. It's not going to remain peaceful. This is going to be like the Black Lives Matter Antifa deal. It's going to be the same thing. And it's all going to be illegals. And that's the problem, Matt. We can't tell.
I just want to have 1 month where we spend $1 trillion or something ridiculous and just deport all of them at once. Rip the Band-Aid off. At the same time, you have the wall, you have the border security, you stop the drug cartels. I want to do it all at once. Every single one of them deported, every single one of these illegals, the criminals, the people who are protesting, who are here illegally, all of them, send them home. And some of them, by the way, have families that will go with them too, who are legal citizens. So after that's over, then the voting block for Democrats, which is already down at a very low level because people don't support them, 36% approval rating, will go to nothing. So you do that. You just do one big push, and the Democrats are basically over after that. California will turn red. You can end the illegal voting system scam where they fake out and use basically a tricked system to get the votes in their favor. You can get rid of all of that, and that's all you have to do. One big push, and we're able to basically save the country. And I don't think Trump is necessarily fully understanding how important it is to do it that way. But maybe he is. Maybe that's why he's sending in the troops. Maybe that's what's really happening with this parade. Maybe we're finally going to get the save of our country that we desperately need. Is Trump going to do it, Joe?
I don't think so.
Probably not.
Hopefully. I mean, I would like him to do it, but I don't think he's going to. I don't think that there's an appetite for it, frankly. And I think that's my biggest issue, is that we don't have an appetite to do the things that are right because it's too hard. The hard path is always the best path. It's the most painful, but it actually leads to success. And we could look at what would happen in World War II. We stayed out. When we finally stepped in, that was a hard decision to make, but we did. And we were able to create a whole lot of success and end the war. And we also killed a lot of people. And that type of killing has been continuing for the last 60, 70 years. And now we're in a really bad place. And we're in a really bad place as a country because the institutional rot of these fraternities has actually leaked into every part of our life. And they consume us. They take 56 cents on every dollar. And I think if we stop and listen, if Americans stop and listen to each other, I think we can solve a lot of problems, because I actually don't give a shit about Greta Thunberg. I actually don't care about what happens to another country. Let them rot. Let them go through whatever they're going to go through. Stop sending them money. I don't care. It's not that I don't care about the people and the suffering that they're going through. I just don't care about walking past and stepping on the bodies of Americans in order to help someone else. I want to help the people that are here. I want to have that Samaritan spirit where I'll help anyone, but it be someone that didn't come and commit a crime in order to get to the position where I have to help them. Now, I have a heart for people. I really do. And I think you do. Like you want to help people, but not at the expense of stepping on our veterans or stepping on, single moms or my black brothers and sisters that are in the inner city. Like I don't want to step over them and they can't get an education, but yet I gotta give free education to people that don't deserve it, that didn't have generational. I can't do it.
It's not worth it. And we have to fight back. And the other thing is with Greta Thunberg, which I'm more interested in that than you are, because I think it's a big step. I think she's finally saying, she didn't mention climate change at all the entire time. I don't know when the last time she mentioned that is. She's basically not acknowledged that was a fake scam to some degree.
She's a professional protester.
And is now moving on. But at least this time, she's protesting against something that I think is more honorable. And a lot of people are pro-Israel, disagree with that, think Israel's the good guys 100%. In reality, Hamas is the bad guys. Israel, the Israeli government often are the bad guys. I don't really like that many places anywhere. I don't like most governments. I think all of them are corrupt and evil. And Greta Thunberg is technically protesting against something that is bad, which is killing of people. And we've gone through this a number of times on the show. Very controversial, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be controversial to say that, yes, you do need to send in your soldiers if you want to take out Hamas, who's underneath a building that's full of innocent civilians. You can't just bomb the whole building, especially not on the scale that they have, and especially not because they clearly want to take over that land. But they arrested Greta Thunberg. They arrested the people on board the ship. It was the perfect op for them. It looked great. They handed her a sandwich. They got a picture of her smiling. They had a professional photographer on there taking a bunch of pictures until they got the perfect one. Probably told her a joke. They put a little feather under her armpit, tickled her a little bit. Oh, she's smiling. Get the picture. And that's the headline. So they handled it perfectly from a propaganda standpoint. But at the end of the day, it is true. And we can play the clip. Play this clip of Greta Thunberg getting arrested. So they have all of their hands up. They're all annoying looking people, but at least
two people were crying.
Two people were crying. They threw their phones in the water too, which was weird to me because you have a password on your phone. But then again, you're dealing with a group of people who has access to a lot of the big tech companies who are dual citizens with Israel.
And they didn't want the information that was on there to tell them why they were doing and what they were doing.
Yep. They probably had those phones, by the way, specifically for this trip. They probably left their real phones back at home. So that's something to keep in mind. And Greta Thunberg is still posting about it. She is still on that side, but it's going to be weird when because they're going to try to give them the whole tour of like why they're wrong and hold them maybe for a bit, then fly them back. How are they going to get the boat back? I don't know. It's a big mess. I really actually wanted to see what would have happened if they tried to deliver the aid, because it probably would have been different than people expected. And I don't necessarily mean in the negative way. I think it probably would have actually been somewhat eye-opening for a number of people, because they're really not allowing a lot of media to get out right now. They've taken out a lot of the ability for videos and footage to come out for anyone to get a more comprehensive view of really the damage that's happened.
Let's play it.
Play it.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.
Is it just me or is she less hateable than she was?
I don't know.
Is Greta Thunberg having a little bit of a redemption arc? I mean, she doesn't seem as annoying as she used to be. Like it's a little bit. She's still annoying, a little bit less.
It's all up. It's still enough.
It's still enough.
Yeah, but here's them actually raiding the boat. Let's take a look at that.
Mobilisez-vous! Mobilisez-vous! Go to places! Ditch the phone! Ditch the phone!
A couple people crying
Ditch
over
the
there.
phone. Ditch the phone.
Ditch the phone! Yes.
And you can watch them throw it out into the ocean. 2,000 feet deep, probably, however deep it is there. And they're never finding those phones.
You had the two people crying on the right.
Give me the phone. Give me the phone. Yes, yes. Give me the phone. Give me the phone.
He's pissed. He's pissed. That was my phone, bro. They better have had fake phone or temporary phones for this trip. just imagine if that was his real phone that they're throwing off.
Assume your position. Please. Okay. Francesca, can you see us? Can you hear us?
Oh, it's a TikTok moment.
Right now, we're being intercepted right now.
And there's not a single one of them is a true leader. I mean, imagine you're on that boat and you have to listen to one of those retards about what the plan is.
We are being intercepted right now. We have way. Everyone here is safe. No one is wounded right now. It's very important that you know, no one is wounded until the time they boarded our boat. Okay? Please raise the alarm. We want you to take down all cellular immediately. Okay. They're asking us to take over the phone.
It's all. Where did the video come from? It's all manufactured, and that's the whole thing. It's all manufactured.
Yeah, you're not legally allowed actually to arrest people in international waters like that, and they're also off the coast of Gaza, that's where they're heading. So it's not Israeli controlled waters in any capacity, and yet they feel like they can just go on their boat with guns and. That is abduction. That is kidnapping. The president of Sweden came out and said, you can't just kidnap Greta Thunberg. I mean, it is all a gay psyop, but it's still interesting. I will say, don't you think it would have been interesting to just see what would have happened once they landed? I wanted to know. I really wanted to know. I mean, maybe it's from an entertainment standpoint, but I was super curious.
Well, I'm looking at the boat, and I'm looking at the type of boat that would have to be like a trawler. So how much aid could they actually have on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really about the aid. It was about getting the social media buzz for the cause.
Right.
And then that will, in turn, lead to more donations and more aid. So it was, I mean, I don't think that, it doesn't really matter if we question the aid on the ship specifically. The point of this trip was to help the people of Gaza, whether it was from the aid on the ship or from getting more donations or from calling for peace and trying to get more people to support an end to the war. So whatever it is, they are trying to help. But a lot of people are mad about it. And a lot of people are like, okay, well, why are these liberal weirdos people that we're paying any attention to at all?
You know what we lack? We lack business maturity. We lack civil maturity as people. As adults, kids have more self-control than we do. They do. I mean, actually, they don't. They have less self-control.
As someone with a 2.5-year-old, I can tell you it's not true. It's not true.
They don't have a lot of value, right? I mean, people are just. I finally got to the point on social media where somebody starts saying something to me and I don't like it. I'm like, block, because I don't want to go through it. I don't want. It's the mental immaturity. So that leads me to the last thing we're going to talk about, right? Let's jump through it. Court case. For those who don't know, Mike Lindell is currently under a lawsuit against Eric Coomer. Eric Coomer was the one that was on the Antifa call saying, hey, don't worry about it. Trump's not going to win. I made effing sure of it. Well, they came out and they had this whole thing. They had this whole thing where it was about the doodle at the top. And so I was like, well, here, let me show you how I did it. So I got my computer out, and in the middle of the courtroom, they showed the jury how the doodle was made. So that totally debunked that. So they were like, oh, this is crap. But they spent an entire day. First of all, The judge kept out all the stuff about Eric Coomer that I used in order to come to the conclusion that Eric Coomer of Dominion Voting System was the same person that was on the call. Cut it all out. And not only did they cut all that out, but they changed the yard markers. They said, listen, you can't use anything to prove that Eric stole the elections that you didn't have at the time that you actually talked about it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I haven't stopped talking about it. I've been talking about Eric Coomer for 5 years straight. These guys came after my wife. They came after my children. They came to my house with guns 20 times. They came to my house to do harm to my family. Personal security detail. Personal security detail. Apollo protected my family for 18 months. For 18 months, he lived in my home. Is that about right, Apollo? Was it more than that or less than that? Maybe a little less. And, but Matt, I can tell you this. I saw a bunch of videos of me back in 2021. And I'm not proud of that hysteria, that I don't even know if I call it hysteria, that anger. It consumed me in 2021. I mean, it consumed me to the point where I just wanted to fight everybody. And now I look at it and I was like, I don't really want to fight everybody. I just want to fight the evil that's out there. So I'm much more measured. I'm back to being where I was when I was overseas. And, but the hard part about the trial is it was the entire trial of Mike Lindell, without exception. The entire trial of Mike Lindell is about me. The entire trial. Mike Lindell's name came up in the 3 days with me, a total of 4 times. 4 times. It was all about me. They would play deposition photo or deposition. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to create anger with the jury by using my name and slandering me and defaming me inside the court case. And Kyle Clark goes out and he makes up all this stuff about me that's just not true with 9 News. And so my lawyer's like, aren't you done? Can't we just sue him now? And I was like, yeah, I think we can. So and then I thought about it on Friday as I'm leaving there. And I'm like, I'm going to sue this guy and I got to go through the same court system that just allowed Eric Coomer to do what he's doing.
It's disgusting. And that's why I'm hoping Trump has a plan. And we're watching the troops going to Washington, D.C., all of the helicopters and planes for the quote unquote parade. We're seeing the massive unrest that's about to happen on the 14th. We're seeing Trump sending in Marines to L.A., probably going to send in more. We're seeing ICE agents being ramped up. We're seeing new funding being allocated to that in the big, beautiful bill. We're seeing all of this. And so maybe, just maybe, Trump has had enough. Maybe he is going to take a stand exactly like our founding fathers did and save the country right now.
So I'm going to play something for you. And it's not from me. So let me just tell you, they said that the phone call didn't happen. So on this video, I'm going to tell you right now, I had to take a minute because they asked me, the lawyers asked me on Mike's side, what made you get involved? And for a minute, I thought about what made me get involved, and I emotionally couldn't handle it. Because I remember back to when my friend committed suicide, and that caused me to get involved in the COVID deal. Because I knew it was an op. I spent 6.5 years in the Middle East and Africa. Like I had seen this before. And I got choked up and I looked at the judge and I was like, I need a minute. I kind of need a minute right now almost. And I came back and it was that moment in my life that I made a decision to get involved in helping my community because I thought what they were doing was wrong and that COVID was an absolute op. And I had seen ops before. I knew what they looked like. I had seen it kill people in other countries, and I knew that they were then bringing it here to our shores. And I knew it was driven by the CIA and our really bad influences. I knew. And I felt like every morning I would wake up and I had this pit in my stomach that I had to get involved. But I could give up that kid. And they've already calculated the risk. Coomer and his attorneys have calculated the risk. They knew I was never going to give up the person that gave me access to his social post. And I was never going to give up the kid that used to be Antifa. They knew that I wouldn't do either one of those things. They knew that, 3 months into it, they wanted access to it so they could have their pound of flesh. Biden was in office. That kid would have been deader than a doornail. And I look back at the 4 years and what it did to me. And the fact that I was able to overcome it, I was able to get to a place where I could still love people, love my family, where I could build relationships, where I could still be giving and authentic. And how many times I had to go through this loop of the pain that I felt. And it was immense. I mean, you can't go from being the guy that everyone loves to the guy that half the country hates. You can't go from serving your community to being kicked off boards and robbed of what you feel like God's put you on this earth to do. You can't do that and sacrifice another person that doesn't have the means, that doesn't have the courage, that doesn't have the commitment, that doesn't even understand, that even old enough to understand. So they knew. And so the first day, they beat me over the head and said the call never occurred. And I stayed as calm as I possibly could because I wanted to hurt someone. Just the fact that I'm sitting in this courtroom with this smug, devil-worshiping, just terrible human being who is going after Mike Lindell, who, by the way, I'm not his greatest fan. I'm not a Mike Lindell fan. I spent 2.5 years serving Mike Lindell, and he owes me a lot of money. That came out in the trial. But he's a fool. And I'm sorry, but he's a fool. Dennis Montgomery is an absolute criminal. The guy's a con man, but he's hired by the CIA and other people to do what he did. And they're just really bad people. And so I looked at Mike and I'm like, Mike, anybody can fool Mike. But they beat me over the head, called it and have it, called it and have it, called it and happen. And I keep answering the questions and telling him and pushing out how I came to the conclusion I came to. And then that night, my attorney showed me some documents that were filed in this case. And shout out to Andrea, who is my friend, and Ingrid, two amazing lawyers that started representing me, and then I had to get new lawyers for a bunch of reasons. But she showed up. She showed up and she was there and she read every one of these documents. And so in this thing, there was an affidavit from Tay Anderson. Now, the day before I walked through the notes and they basically ridiculed me over my notes and, what does this mean? I was like, I don't know, walk me through it. It's been 5 years, but let's walk through it. And they just jumped around and did things. They did everything they can to try and discredit me. And the reality of it is that there was nothing to discredit. Dominion has gone all over the country destroying people's lives. And he said he was going to do it. And this is before we had all the information about Dominion. And now here we are. We're having this conversation about Dominion again. And Eric Coomer being the director of strategy and security that's selling it, pimping it, being the spokesperson for it. And so two things happened. One, they asked me about this article that I saw that had Eric Coomer in it. And way back when I couldn't find it because they had stripped the internet of Eric Coomer. And the second of which is, they literally took everything out. Look, you can't find anything about Eric. They destroyed the entire internet about Eric Coomer. And so I said at the time, I go, well, actually, I do have it. I can show it to you. It's on my computer back there. You may grab it? And they're like, no. So then Mike's attorney's like, hey, can you show it to us? And the judge said, overruled, you can't show it. I'm thinking to myself, they just said it didn't exist. I have it now. Let me play it. Let me show it to you. But on the second day, that night, when I was with my attorney, she hands me a pack of papers, and I'm going through the papers, and there's an affidavit from September of 2021. And I was like, well, this is Tay Anderson. I remember that there was an affidavit, but in 2021, my life was completely upside down. I mean, there's a lot going on. I'm getting attacked, sued, everything's going on. I had to step down from my company. I mean, I can't, I mean, I was not prepared for what happened in 2021 in my life, or 2022, or even 2023. I mean, it was a constant, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I'm still death threats and lots of bad stuff happening, and I can't, and frankly, I would leave with Apollo, and I would go to the bar, and I would have a bourbon just to get my nerves right. Because everything to me looked like it was a fight. And I know I'm taking this too long. I know I'm going too far in this, and I'm just
I can see you getting emotional about it too, rightfully so. I mean, they're coming after our families.
Yeah, I mean, they came after my children. And I'm a strong guy, man. And I don't want to hurt anyone. And but I will. You hurt my friends or family, and God help you, because he's the only one that can. And I will cop a charge. There's nothing in me that will stop me from the wrath and the things that I know that I can do. There's nothing. If you hurt someone, I don't have it in me. I'll forgive you afterwards, after I send you to your maker. And just the thought in that time frame, like I saw a video that kept playing these little clips of me, and I was angry. I kept looking at that video going, man, I don't want to ever be that guy again. But she showed me this thing, this affidavit. And the affidavit, they totally didn't put it in. They basically tried, the last thing they said the night before was, there was no call, was there? That's why he did. There's no call. Then that night, I'm reading this document from Tay Anderson, and it's everything that's in my notes is in the document that Tay Anderson was in there, except for he said that there was no Eric Coomer. There you go. There it is. I and Tool Anderson, declare the state. My name is, I'll just call it Tay Anderson, but I am known in most circles as Tay Anderson. I'm over the age of 21 years old. I'm a sound mind and fully competent to make this declaration. I have personal knowledge of the matters stated in the declaration, which are true and correct. Goes through the fact that he's the at-large director of the Denver Public Schools, and that during the spring and summer of 2020, the Black Lives Matter protest movement grew rapidly in Colorado. And then he keeps going and talks about his involvement, by the way, 3 times in my notes was BLM. And he talks about the individual at large Black Lives Matter activist was Joseph A. Camp. Joe Camp was on the call, or they were talking about what they wanted to do to him. Camp frequently attended public protests where he would photograph participants, harass attendants, and provoke confrontations. Goes through Mr. Camp's presence and the fact they were talking about things they wanted to do. Talk about Camp attended a protest in Denver that I had helped organize to demand justice for the murder of Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor was actually on the call. They were planning a new protest. And then we scheduled a conference call to address this on September 25th. September 25th, I participated in a Zoom conference call with roughly 15 to 20 other people. I said there was 19 people on the call. And then this is where he says, during the call, no one mentioned Eric from Dominion, and I am not familiar with anyone that would meet that description. Now, by the way, this affidavit that you're looking at right now, I do not know Eric Coomer, and I ever met him. And any of my time working with the Denver community, and specifically with members of the community, have there ever been actively engaged in the Black Lives Matter movement or any related movements for social justice? I ever heard of a name Eric Coomer or had any interactions with anyone who claimed to know him, which I know is a lie.
A bold-faced lie.
Yeah. So other than that, he verified about 8 or 9 points in my notes. And that was from the process, that was from them. Now, here's what you need to know about Tay Anderson. He was accused of molesting, raping, sexually doing whatever. He was accused of over 60 children in a position of trust. He also was responsible for the death, allegedly the death of some other man, and something Lyle in Denver. He was forced to resign. He moved to Aurora. He's just a really, really bad person who's done really, really bad things. That is the person that they didn't let me talk about on the stand. Like, who is this guy? I just came out and said he's a pedophile. I mean, the guy's an alleged pedophile, and that's the guy that writes your affidavit. So they went from one day that there was no call. The next day, I'm like, listen, you guys got an affidavit of a guy that said there was a call, but that Eric wasn't on it. And it was BLM, it wasn't Antifa. So totally blew it up. And they spent a lot of time framing this entire thing around me. The good news is that I know when my trial happens, where I get to defend myself against them, I know exactly how we're going to win the trial. I know how we're going to win. I know exactly where their holes are. And I went back and I made sure over the weekend that I just went through and got all of those holes filled out. So that was literally my 2.5 days of being ridiculed, attacked, media writing all sorts of bad things about me. I just finally stopped listening to it. But Ash Epp, I just want to call, this is
how long is this trial going to last? What's going to be, do you think?
It has another week.
Another week, okay.
Yeah, and Mike...
will he have to pay a large sum of money, most likely? Is that where this is going?
No, I don't think so. I think he wins, hands down.
Okay.
Because there was no malice. I mean, look, Mike's an ex-crack addict. I mean, the guy didn't have malice. He just doesn't. He's not he has a passion for this country. And you could come after me all you want. You're welcome to come for me. But coming for everyone else, for repeating what was truthful that I reported. I reported something truthful, and you attack others for defamation because they repeated what I said was truthful. And you can come after me. You could sue me. But how do you sue everyone else for the words that I said? I was on that call. I wasn't hearsay. It wasn't hearsay at all. I was on the call. So you can say either Eric's lying or Joe's lying. You're welcome to do that. Well, Joe, give up the kid. No, I won't. I won't give up the kid because he has a right to raise his children and he has a right to live a life that doesn't have to go through the same turmoil that I went through. And you'd say, well, Joe, you're a martyr. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a 1 John 3:16. Jesus gave up his life for us. We should be willing to give up our lives, for our brothers and sisters. That's the way I live my life. And you could say a lot of things about me, but you go back the last 18 years. You find a time that I haven't been God-centered. And I will tell you that there's only been a few moments in that 18 years. My brother was murdered by a police officer. That was probably one of the times. I disconnected. I was literally, my life was not my own. But you take away the pain of that, and I think I've come out on top of it. I can't expect that someone else would be able to do the same. I don't think that could happen.
It's tough. And by the way, we have right now 1,300 people watching, which is great to see. So if you're watching us for the first time, if you clicked on my link, in order to be able to comment and like and subscribe, you have to make a Rumble account. It doesn't take that long. It takes you a couple minutes. It is worth it to do. Make a Rumble account and click subscribe, turn the notifications on, and you can come and watch the show when you see the notification. It is the best place to get information. We have the clips that we play throughout the show. That takes a lot of time and preparation to do. We have an incredible set. Joe is able to provide perspective that almost no one else in the world can provide. You have to be here every day with us. It is better than Fox News, better than CNN, better than MSNBC. It is the place to go to know what is really happening, who is behind it, who's funding it, what the real control aspect of it is. You have to make an account on Rumble because on YouTube, they've already given us a strike for a video about Epstein. They've already given us a strike for other things in the past. They're going to demonetize us and ban us. We can't grow anywhere else. So if you have a YouTube account, I get it. It's a little bit weird. I'm making the transition to Rumble. It is worth it. I've made the transition. I only listen now to political shows on Rumble, nowhere else. I used to be a big YouTube guy. Even though I hated their policies, YouTube was where I got my start. And I wasn't posting about politics, so it would have been banned if I did. But I got to start on YouTube. And so I always appreciated them for that, and I thought it was the best place. But now Rumble is taking over. And you have to make an account. You have to be able to watch in a way that can comment and like. It's way better for the algorithm. So please do that. I mean it. Please do it right now. Take the time, make an account, and join. And if we're all doing that, it'll be good. By the way, I just sent Apollo something on the chat. So this right here is just coming in, showing footage from a couple hours ago of the 700 Marines that Trump is sending in and the training that they're doing. Take a look in the chat. It's from a tweet, and you can see right there. So this is them marching forward. Pretty intense stuff. Clearly, those guys aren't messing around. It's a much higher level of training than any other force in the country. Is the Marines? It's the highest level, in my opinion, possible. There's maybe a couple that you could say are up there, but Marines are as good as it gets. And so you see the type of training they're doing. They're preparing to be kicked and attacked, and they're ready. And Gavin Newsom also just posted something on his X account that I saw as well. A matter of hours ago, there were pictures of people who are being sent in, troops that are sleeping on the floor. And Gavin Newsom was saying, "Oh, you sent them here without anywhere to stay." I can promise you two things. Number one, those patriots who are there and fighting don't care if they have to sleep on the floor, don't care if they have to sleep on a bus, on a train, in a hotel, wherever. They're there to fight for our country. They're there to stop these evil people who aren't even citizens. They don't care. And furthermore, that's Gavin. That's your responsibility. You should be giving them a place to stay. You should be helping to facilitate this. The fact that we have to fight you on sending in people to stop violent protests, and we have to fight you to send out illegal criminals from our country and illegal immigrants in general from our country, is disgusting. You are a traitor. You are a traitor, Gavin Newsom. And you're doing it for your own political gain. You want to make a bunch of money as president. You want to become a 100 millionaire. You want to sell a bunch of books. You want to have the power. You want to live in the White House. You want to be able to tell people what to do. And so you're willing to say anything that it takes in order to convince the brainwashed masses to like you. And then you're going to cheat anyway because that's not enough. So it's just such a fallen state that our country's in right now, where we have to even look at these issues in a serious way.
I want to end us on this if we can. You're right. There's a video that I want to make sure we play with, which is Ash in America. And this is her take of the trial. First day, she's like, "Oh, it doesn't look good. You know, Joe's, you know, he won't actually give up his source." Second day, she's like, "Holy shit. Let's look at this. Let's go ahead and play it."
What's up, Ash?
Hey. So, well, this was crazy. Yeah. So, yesterday in the case, the plaintiff Eric Coomer's attorneys spent most of the day establishing that there was no Antifa call. Remember, the core claim is Joe Altman said that Eric Coomer was on an Antifa call. Eric from Dominion was on an Antifa call and said, "Trump's not going to win. I made fucking sure of it." So yesterday they spent all day establishing that there was no call, that Joe made it up. In fact, when they passed Joe Altman as a witness to the defense to do cross-examination, they said, "There was no call, was there? You made the whole thing up," and then they passed the witness.
Hold on. So Eric Coomer's attorneys were, and by the way, Ash is at the Mike Lindell trial, okay? And so she's been there. She's our correspondent on the ground. Yesterday, Joe Altman was on the stand, and Eric Coomer's team was establishing that Joe made up the call completely, fabricated the whole thing.
Made it up.
Okay.
Made it up because he wanted to get more views on his conservative daily podcast, because he wanted to be important. They did a whole bunch of reasons for why he made it up. Today, Joe is on the stand. He just finished. I just walked out after he was done. He was being cross-examined by Mike Lindell's attorneys, and they produced, it was this morning, first thing they asked is, yesterday the attorneys for Mr. Coomer said that you are the only person who can corroborate your call. There's nobody else. We have to rely on your word that this happened. And Joe said, "No, that's not true. There is an affidavit from Tay Anderson." Now, as soon as I get off with you, I'm going to post my thread, and there will be a link to who Tay Anderson is for the audience, for folks who want to see. But Tay Anderson was a Denver Public School Board member who was arrested for diddling kids, and also a member of BLM and Antifa. So there's an affidavit from September 21st, 2021. They showed it up on the screen. It's not in this case. It's in Coomer versus Trump. and it acknowledges the call. The call happened. Now, they say there was no Eric from Dominion on the call, but as of yesterday, there was no call. It was made up. Today, there is a call, but Eric wasn't there.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so can you clarify that? Where's this other case taking place?
Denver District Court.
Okay, and that's at the same time as now.
It's an ongoing case. I don't think it's gone to trial yet. I'm not actually familiar with the details of that case, but it's the Coomer's case against President Trump, and I think there might be other defendants in that as well.
And in the other case, in the Denver District Court, they filed an affidavit. The defense, Eric Coomer's defense, filed an affidavit about the call that Joe Oltmann was talking about.
Same attorneys. It's the same.
How is that possible?
Well, it doesn't look good. But yeah, the affidavit, I'm going to try and see if I can get a copy of it. But the affidavit says, I attended a call on September 25th, 2021. We were talking about Joey Camp. Now, all of these details I'm going to mention are in Joe Oltmann's handwritten notes about this call. Okay. Joey Camp was a local activist that BLM didn't like and wanted to target. That's in Joe's notes. Members, Tay Anderson being on the call. That's in Joe's notes. What were the other details? Breonna Taylor. They were organizing to protest for Breonna Taylor. That's in Joe's notes. There's several details that are in Joe's contemporaneous notes, which the defense has said, we have to rely on just your word, right? Well, now his contemporaneous notes are confirmed on several points, including the timing of the call, who was there, what the focus was, Joey Camp, Breonna Taylor. The only thing that's not in there is Eric from Dominion, but the rest of the affidavit confirms Joe's contemporaneous handwritten notes from 2020.
And it was Eric Coomer seeing that file. This makes no sense because it's literally the same day.
Yeah. It's so I would imagine they've all seen it. They did it. The thing that I find is crazy. I don't think they produced it as an affidavit in this case, which I would think is a discovery violation. It's directly relevant to the claims that they're bringing. It confirms that there was a call, and I can't stress this enough. Yesterday there was no call. It was all made up. They said that. The attorney for Eric Coomer said, you made it all up, didn't you? There was no call. You made it all up. And today there's a call, but it totally wasn't the same call. That was actually what they were saying right before I walked out, right before they dismissed Joe as a witness. They were saying, this can't be the same call because in the affidavit, it says that the people were on Zoom and you could see them on Zoom. And you said that you couldn't see anybody on Zoom. So it can't be the same call, can it? Yesterday, there was no call.
So what did the judge do when she got this information?
So it came in at first through Joe. He mentioned the Tay Anderson, mentioned the affidavit. The plaintiffs objected and they went up to a sidebar. Then the defense attorney came back to the stand and said, Mr. Oltmann, we're going to revisit this because the judge wants to review the information. So he did his cross-examination and then came back to revisit it. We took a recess. She went off into the chambers to consider the affidavit. And when we came back, she said that the parties had reached an agreement. The exhibit was in, and we just got the questioning of it. The jury has seen it.
Wow. So what do you think happens next with this?
Well, right now they're having video deposition testimony from Max McGuire. Max was Joe's former co-host on Conservative Daily, and he's expected to testify to Joe's state of mind and being hyperbolic and not backing up his claims and things. Now, they tried to get Max McGuire as a witness in person today. I guess that's a change to the pretrial order, so the judge said no, but Max McGuire is here. I don't know if there's something that could trigger him being called as a rebuttal witness. It's possible, I guess. But so that's happening now. Then I think there will be a lunch break. Heidi Beadle is who Joe calls an Antifa journalist, Colorado Times reporter out here, who is always at the BLM things. And so that's she's expected to testify this afternoon. They tried to call Mike Lindell to testify today, and on the pretrial order, he's listed as testifying on the 9th and 10th of June. And
So that gives you just kind of a peek into it. And they would not let Max McGuire testify because they wanted to chop up his deposition in a way that made it was unbelievable. I talked to him. He stayed at my house. hopefully get a chance to, hang out more. But yeah, well, that's it, brother. That's all I got.
Yeah, there's comments right now saying hero for the fact that you're willing to stand up and fight in this battle. Because it is true. They could easily you could easily take the easy road out.
I could give them up.
You could give them up.
I've thought about it like 100 times.
You could take the cash.
And it's not
deal.
just one person up, it's two people. They want me to give up two. And I'm like, no. And they're going to the fact that you must have broken into his socials. I was like, okay, maybe. I did not. So it's sometimes you have to do something because you know it's the right thing to do, but in your heart you're like, I want to destroy this guy so badly. I just want to prove it so that they can literally throw him in jail. And then I think about the consequences of that and the fact that he's already going to go to jail. There's a high probability that they're going to get to the bottom of it. Because I know President Trump is going to dig to the bottom. I know he is. So I can't step on my brother in order to preserve myself. That would be a violation of everything that I am as a person. So
what was it like in the courtroom? What was the atmosphere like?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was
so just to give people a picture. So are there two sides, and each side has people sitting behind them?
Yeah,
who are representing them, and Mike Lindell is sitting there
up at the defense.
And did you talk to him? What was that conversation like?
Yeah, I've talked to him.
Was it positive, or was it?
You're talking to a guy that owes you a lot of money, and hasn't exactly been. I have my opinion of Mike, but I will defend Mike to the end because I'm an honorable and a loyal person. But that my loyalty and my loyalty to Mike is because of the mission, not because of the man. And even in that, I do everything I can to make sure that I honor that.
Did Eric have a lot of people supporting him?
No.
It was a relatively light courtroom. Not a lot of people there.
More people there were supporting Mike for sure. A lot more. Probably, 3/4. And the jury. The jury is a bunch of nice people. I don't think they were. Left, right, et cetera. I think they'll figure it out.
Can you go ahead and put up a picture and legal name and address of all of the people on the jury? You're allowed to do that, right? It's not against the law. That's totally allowed.
The same reason that you would never do that to a person that you want to hurt. I've had 5 years to heal, so I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt people. But if you would have asked me 4 years ago, man, I would have burned the baby down with the bathwater. I think that's a bad way to go.
By the way, that was a joke for anyone wondering.
Yeah, he's not.
You're not legally allowed to do that. You can't.
No.
That's why Joe has to be careful with what he's saying. I'm asking him questions.
Yeah, I want to tell you everything.
To be careful.
I want to talk about everything, but I can't. I just told you about the little part because it was already out there, public knowledge.
Can you say your opinion of the judge?
No.
Okay, so he can't say anything publicly. I will say my opinion of the judge is I'm a little bit more optimistic than I was before, but not enough more optimistic that I feel comfortable with what's happening here. I'm maybe even more concerned than you are that they could try to railroad this, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen. And obviously, Joe can't even tell me everything either, and I don't want him to. I told him, don't, even if you want to, don't do it. He wouldn't do it anyway. But it's a legal process, and they can arrest him and hold him in contempt of court if he breaks the rules. That's the way the system works. So we have to be careful about that. Also, I've been telling Apollo, so we just got approved for the creator program through Rumble, which is great. We're going to be trying to work with Rumble to help make this show one of the top on Rumble because I think it can be, and I want it to be. And so we're working directly with them, but we may want to try an ad read right now. You don't think Apollo? I don't know if you can hear if Apollo's mic is live right now, but he said no, don't do it. So I guess we'll have to make sure we're more prepared before we do it. But they basically the sponsorship program gives you a few ad reads you can do, and so it'll be cool to try to kind of experiment with what Rumble has for options. We're not doing the show for money. We're doing the show because we want to have a big political impact, because we care. And
we want to give people a voice too.
We want to give people a voice.
We might do some call-ins. Have the 1-800 number kicked up and have people call in.
I like that idea. Yeah, we can get some people calling in. But we want to build a movement, and we want to build a movement that includes financial backing. Right now, to have power in this country, you need finances. And so we're going to build the financial side of it as strong as we possibly can and use that for good.
We've got some really good ideas of what we're going to do with that.
Absolutely. The more resources Joe and I have, and we have here at Untamed, the more good we can do. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see where this goes. Hope everyone had a good weekend. You know, it's kind of a little bit of a glum show today, talking about a couple of very negative things, but there's still hope. There's always hope, Joe.
I believe that with God, everything is possible, and without him, nothing is possible. And that's why the faithless cowards that we have out there should be taken out. Not physically, they should be taken out of their positions. But,
yeah, no more power for the evil.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and pray us out?
I would love to pray us out. I'm also, just so you know, I got an update on Dave, who's my friend.
You want to read that before praying, or do you want to incorporate that into the prayer? Because I'm very curious. I haven't talked to Joe in a couple of days. He's been so busy. I'm really curious what the update is on Dave. I know it's looking a little better. Is it good or is it bad?
It's bad. So, Dave, I had to drive him to the hospital, the emergency room. He actually came to the office today, and he had to make a phone call because things weren't feeling right. And so, I said, well, I'll take you to the hospital. So I stopped what I was doing and drove straight to the hospital, left my phone upstairs. I just got him to the emergency room. And so now he has a new blood clot and the tumor has grown. And so they were going to put off the surgery for a couple weeks, but it looks like they're going to do it in the next couple days. So they got him on a heparin, which is a blood thinner. So it's so they can get the blood clot knocked out, try to get that done, and so without worrying about him bleeding out. And then as soon as they get the blood clot taken care of, they're going to stop it immediately and then do the surgery to get the tumor out. So if you can pray for Dave, that would be great. I'm going to go ahead and pray. Father God, we are so grateful for you. We're so grateful for the opportunity to be born at a time such as this. We're grateful for your direction and for your wisdom, for that voice that you give us inside to make sure that we're just heading in the right direction and doing the right thing. We're grateful for our friendships, Father, and we're grateful for our families. And we're even grateful for the trials and the things that happen in our lives. We recognize that we may not understand all the circumstances and all the perceived bad stuff that we go through, but that it too has a purpose. Father, I'll just start off by asking you to a special prayer for Dave and his family. And Father, I would just ask that you heal him. It's a bold prayer, but he's just a really, really good man. And I don't think his work is done. I mean, obviously that's your decision, but I would just ask that you heal him and that you lift the burdens off his family. Father, I ask you to bless Matt and his family and his children. And bless this show, Father. And I just ask you to, I don't know, heal us from this affliction that we're currently under. and give President Trump and our leadership the ability to make good decisions and to have the wisdom to protect not only the American people, but be able to be a light in the dark for other countries. And Father, I ask you to, I know I'm asking for a lot today, but that you will bless the people that are listening, bless their families, and lift the burdens that they may have on their hearts. And yeah, it's just kind of a messy thing out there right now. So Father, we don't always understand, but you're definitely in charge. So I ask for all these things, but recognizing that your will be done. And thank you for the opportunity to just be a part of whatever your plan is. I ask these things, Father, humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Last thing I'll say before we pop out. And today's an emotional day, so I'm trying to keep my like this for me. The collider. You know, the collider that they had over in Europe. It basically,
the big loop-de-loop.
Yeah. Well, when they announced that collider, that's when all this weird stuff started happening. So what if it's like one big Ouija board? And they're just literally just having conversations with demons, because they're talking about having conversations with life. And what if it just, we're like dealing with just demonic forces on a scale we've never seen before because they had to go and mess with all of it.
I love that theory. I mean, there's definitely that you can't explain what's happening right now without demonic forces.
Supernatural.
I don't know. I don't know about if it's a giant Ouija board or not, but
I mean, I feel
it's definitely weird.
It is weird.
Yeah, I mean, why do they need to? Why do they even need to do that? It's in my opinion, kind of a waste of resources.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's energy possibilities with it. They could develop close to unlimited energy, blah, blah, blah. You know, whatever. Maybe something good will come from it, but it's certainly satanic. And they're also cloning human beings, cloning babies. They're making it normalized, or at least trying to make 8 or 9 embryos and scientifically choose which ones you want, or even genetically engineer them.
And
then kill all the rest of the embryos.
Yes. They're building
forces.
Body parts. They're like building
God.
body parts.
Yeah.
They're playing God. And that's why I said we're in a place right now where what if it's the collider? What if they literally just opened up the forces of evil and gave it more power they're still doing it, right? They said they're talking to people, and there's a lot of bad stuff happening, right? And the good is we're trying to figure out, like, why are we crazy? Are we crazy for feeling like this is crazy, that this is evil? Now we're talking about it being evil, and all these demonic, atheistic, godless, spineless individuals. I mean, it feels like we're in a place where we got to stand on the side of God. And so anyway, I think it's Collider. Big Ouija board.
Collider. And we all get to only live life from one perspective too. So
yeah,
we it's hard. We can't fully understand what anyone else is experiencing, and that makes it all even weirder. But we'll see. Time will tell. Is it the kaleidoscope theory? That certainly would be
CERN.
interesting.
CERN.
Shut it down.
Chopper says it's CERN. Yeah, it's called the CERN Collider. It's called and it's crazy. It's in Switzerland, and you know, you get the I'm telling you, bro, it just feels like a Ouija board. It does. It feels like a big old. We got to send them back. So we got to use the power of Jesus to send them back. So do that. Yep, CERN is a portal to the spiritual world, but there's one in Colorado too. Rappos have known this for millennia. Well, I'm going to look this up. Oh, wrong one. All right. Hey, God bless you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for staying with us for the last couple hours. Google Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. You can go to Apple Podcasts too if you want to get there, if you want the audio version. Also, you can get on Rumble, grab the app. If you do that, you can just hit this. So you don't have to look at our ugly faces, and you can just listen to the great information of the podcast too. You can do that. So, but yeah, thanks, Matt. See you tomorrow.
God bless.